Good evening, Cherries fans. Hope you're doing all right on what's been a very miserable Wednesday, I've got to say, weather-wise. Tell you what, though, good day for AFC Bournemouth yesterday in terms of the development squad and some heroics going on against Eastleigh. To discuss it with me, we've got Jeff Hayward. Jeff, how are you?
Yeah, really good, Sam. Thank you.
And we all love it when a goalkeeper scores a goal, eh?
I mean, he outclassed Jimmy Glass last night, didn't he? Don't you think?
Who are we talking about? Of course, it's Mark Travers, but a person who was there watching it was club historian Neil Vacher, who is with us. Neil, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you, Sam. And you?
Yeah, very good, thank you. What an evening last night. How was it?
Yeah, it was a really good evening, a very entertaining game of football between two very good sides. Not really much to choose between them. Very competitive, but a game which brought out all the good things really in football and was thoroughly enjoyable.
So tell us about the Hampshire Senior Cup then, because it's always been a bit of confusion for us Cherries fans. I know that we last got our hands on it in 1989, I think. But, you know, it's not one that AFC Bournemouth and Southampton put their first teams into. But what about the sides like Eastleigh? What kind of strength was their side last night?
I would have said that it wasn't their first team itself, although there were one or two players there who would have first team experience, predominantly a young side like ours. But you really do come across all sorts of different teams from different levels in this competition. Funnily enough, this particular competition started back in October 2019.
Yeah.
When we played Stoke Town here, and we won 8-0, and Simon Francis was our captain. And Lloyd Kelly also played in that game on his way back from injury. And this competition obviously is stretched on because of COVID. It then took us to Farnborough, where we won, I think that would have probably been around December 19, and then to Shoaling. And at the start of the 2021 season, we visited Moneyfields in the semi-final and won there. And ever since then, really, we've been trying to fit in the final, which finally took place last night.
Wow. It's a tournament where Ryan Fraser has appeared before, as you say, Simon Francis, Lloyd Kelly. So with Simon Francis playing, does that mean he's going to get a medal, or is that not the case, Neil?
You'll have to try and get one off one of the other lads. Yeah.
That would be brilliant. You know, I don't know how many times that's happened that a player's retired before they've got a medal. But Jeff, great to see. I mean, Eastleigh took the lead on 3 minutes through Baggy, but then little Gavin Kilkenny, someone that's always been on the periphery of the first team, and he pops up with an absolute worldie. What a player he is, and a prospect for the future.
What a prospect. And I think that's the thing about this development squad. You know, I've seen a number of the club puts their highlights on AFCB on the TV channel, and you can see some of the young players that we sometimes get to see, and some of those that we probably will be seeing in a couple of years' time. We've got some real talent there. Gavin Kilkenny was playing last night. Jayden Anthony was playing last night. And Gavin Kilkenny, I mean, Neil, you can probably talk us through this, but a lot of the glory is going to be about Mark Travers. But Gavin's free kick, I mean, it was a thing of beauty, wasn't it?
It was a superb free kick. Gavin worked his socks off all night in midfield there, winning the ball, prompting. He was very prominent throughout, but no, he bent this free kick very nicely, and the goalkeeper didn't have really a chance. It was an ideal position for him, just outside the area there, fairly central, but put it away beautifully. And he is the engine room of the side, certainly, Gavin.
Now, Eastleigh had a chance to make it 2-1 before half-time, didn't they? Unfortunately, the feed for everyone that was watching on the Hampshire FA YouTube channel, it was a little bit jumpy, but it's something that we haven't seen yet. But Mark Travers saved the day. You know, that was the first part of the trilogy for his evening. But talk us through their penalty and how did he save it?
If I remember correctly, he saved it with his feet, just driving across to his right. You know, he's getting a bit of a reputation for saving penalties, and I think when it was awarded, we were all thinking, well, we know he's a good shot stopper. So almost we weren't that surprised, I suppose, but it was a good save, and it probably kept the score a fair reflection of the game at that time, because although Eastleigh had scored, we'd had most of the play, but certainly when they were able to get forward, Eastleigh did look dangerous, but very competitive.
And it was good starts for both halves for Eastleigh, because Scory put the Spitfires back ahead, and it was 2-1. We made a few substitutions with Glover coming on and a few others, but it's the 90th minute, or just approaching the 90th minute. Sean Cooper tells Mark Travers to go forward. In your head, Neil, are you thinking this is a Jimmy Glass repeat or what?
Well, I did once go to Hartlepool and see their goalkeeper score against us in injury time, so anything is possible. Well, the thing that struck me was how purposefully Mark approached it. To be honest, he made his way up there, and once he was going, he held his hand out to the lad taking the call and said, "Hang on, you wait until I'm up there." And as soon as the ball came in, he just attacked it as any good striker would do, and absolutely buried the ball with a terrific header. Absolutely brilliant. I can't speak too highly of it. And as you can imagine, we were all up in the stands shouting and cheering, and I think most of the team were on the floor shouting and screaming as well and celebrating.
If anyone remembers that Andy Carroll goal for England against Ukraine, where he leaps like a salmon and just bams it in, that's what it was like. It was incredible.
Terrific.
Yeah, it really was. And, Jeff, we were talking previously this evening about the Jimmy Glass goal, the famous goal for Carlisle, and it was almost fortuitous the way it came to him. Mark Travers made it just by himself, didn't he? It was a purposeful run, and in terms of powerful headers, I don't think I've seen one even for AFC Bournemouth this season that's been as purposeful as that.
No, I mean, can we just bring him off the bench for some of our set pieces, Neil? Do you think in the rest of the games we've got this season?
Well, there's a thought. Yeah, well, one certainly to consider perhaps.
Certainly, the aerial threat we've been missing from a lot of our set plays. I mean, absolutely fantastic, and to do that in what was it, the 92nd minute, 93rd minute? It was the last kick of the game. We had been banging on the door, though. To be fair, Neil, I mean, it wasn't unexpected. It looked like we were going to score up until that point, and we just hadn't.
No, we'd had a lot of the play without any doubt. We created quite a few chances. We were just waiting for that sort of real clear-cut chance, which hadn't quite arrived. And then when it did, well, yeah, it was taken. And this is what the lads seem to be able to do. They find a way of coming up with something different. And terrific. So we're into penalties.
We're into penalties, and let's face it, Mark Travers, he's got previous, hasn't he? I think it was, Forest Green Rovers, where he saved 3 in a row. I don't think they even got on the score sheet. We beat them 3-0 in the Carabao Cup, and we dispatched them fairly easily. We've seen some incredible performances from him before in the Premier League. That performance against Spurs at home, the 1-0 Nathan Ake winner in the last minute, and Match of the Day made him their kind of man of the night, and they did a montage of his saves at the end. He was that good. It must be quite reassuring for the players to have a keeper in a penalty shootout that's had previous and can read penalties so well, Neil.
I'm sure it must do, and the way our lads approached the penalties was absolutely first class. And indeed, the penalties from Eastleigh, all bar the one that Mark saved, they were all of a really high standard. But I mean, if you've got a goalkeeper in there that you think is a really good shot stopper from penalties, it's like when you're playing a game with a really good striker who you think can always hit back, if you concede something at the other end. So it probably did give them that extra bit of confidence, and certainly Mark did the business. Yeah,
he really did. And I've seen Corey Jordan play a number of times at Camford for the under-18s, and also now for the development squad, and it was him that scored the winning penalty. And when a central defender steps up, you're always a bit nervous, but he took it with aplomb. And just describe the celebrations, because it must have been a weird one, because usually there'd be some Bournemouth fans there to cheer, but there weren't. But from the video footage I've seen, it was still pretty loud in amongst the staff there.
Very much so, yes, it was indeed. It certainly resounded around the stadium and went on for some time, and it was such a pleasure to see the sheer delight for the lads. I mean, they were obviously thrilled to bits with their win at St George's Park in the Central League Cup last week, and now to follow it up with this. And let's no mistake about it, they were up against a very good side last night, and to come away with the spoils in the end, it was a great tribute to them, to Sean Cooper, Lewis Price, and everyone involved with the management of the team. And it was lovely to be able to share that success with them. Really terrific evening.
And Jeff, it's nice to see some of these players every so often. They've probably not had as many minutes in the first team as they would like, but at the weekend, despite the loss, nice to see some of these players get some game time in a second tier competitive football, eh?
Yeah, and we have got a talented bunch of youngsters. I think Sean Cooper's doing a fantastic job with that development squad. There are some bright talents there. I'm sure they will get their opportunities. And above everything, winning competitions like they did last night. I mean, the feel-good factor. I mean, Mark Travers is probably unbearable now until the end of the season. In fact, probably for the rest of his career.
I think he's going to have a word with Jimmy Glass anyway. That's for sure.
Yeah. Nasmir Begovic needs to up his game, I think, if he does have to go up for a corner.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, Neil, it looked to be a great night, and well, I mean, it summed up a tremendous period of time for the development squad, especially after the first cup win, only last week. Yeah,
they've been a great group of lads. I've been following them quite closely for the last 3 years or so, and it's a pleasure to go and watch them play, and it's great to see the way they behave off the pitch as well as on the pitch. You can see they're being taught the right way to do things, and I'm always proud to be a part of the party when we go up on these trips.
And just talk to us a little bit about Sean Cooper and the good work that he's doing, because he seems to be taking to the job like a duck to water at the moment, and seems to be really calm, really measured. I saw a video of him just training the lads, having a bit of a chat with him, actually talking about penalties that the academy posted on their Twitter account early today, talking about how they approach the ball, don't even glance in terms of where you're going to put it, just know where you're going to put it, don't change your mind. And he seems to have a real infectious, almost like a positivity that seems to be
very much so. Everything Sean does is positive. He's very thorough in the preparation, and the way the players perform speaks volumes, really, of the way that they're being taught to play the game. Excellent.
Really good. And I know that previous tournaments have actually had the final at Dean Court. Is it just rotated? How do they choose which venue gets the actual match?
It's really comes down to where they want to go. I think they rotated around. Southampton's had it a few times at St Mary's. It's often dictated by when they want to play it and what stadiums are available, really.
Yeah.
And the venue at Totton last night was a really good venue, and all that was missing was the supporters, because I think we would have packed it out last night if we could have done. And it's just the sort of venue to create an atmosphere. Sometimes the bigger stadiums don't for these games, but a ground like that would have been lovely to have seen some fans there. But nonetheless, a very, very special occasion.
So you're sat in a box at the moment, so outside you can see the lush turf at AFC Bournemouth. How's the pitch looking?
I can. The pitch is looking, absolutely brilliant. Considering we're into May, you wouldn't know really that the pitch has hardly been used. It's terrific. The grounds team have done a really fantastic job, and it's just looking ready for somebody to go on there and have a great game of football on.
Yeah, I hope so. And Jeff, it's a huge weekend for us. If we better or match Barnsley's result, it means we're playing Swansea, and that'll be the kind of match that we would probably want, I think, rather than play Brentford.
Well, I was thinking about it this morning, actually, wondering whether Barnsley might actually prefer Brentford, because they beat Brentford quite comfortably at Brentford's place earlier this season. And I think they probably fancy themselves against Brentford. So, less probably against us after we turn them over 4-0 at their place earlier in the season, maybe. You know, it's really tough thinking about who you're going to get and what you're going to do. The best thing we can do is get a result on the board against Stoke, and then, you know, let's try and keep destiny in our own hands and onwards and upwards after last night.
Yeah, that's right. Neil, are the nerves setting in for you?
I think in football you do take one day at a time and just deal with the things that come up at that time, and I'm sure that's the way that we'll approach the situation as it comes about in the next few weeks. We'll deal with things as they come out, and in the best possible way that we can. Hoping for the right outcome, of course.
Yeah, fingers crossed it'll all go okay. Neil, thank you so much for joining us to talk about last night's amazing win. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much, Sam and Jeff.
Yeah, thank you, Neil. Brilliant.
And I won't put Neil on the spot for a prediction, but I will for you, Jeff, in terms of Saturday against Stoke. How are we going to do?
Yeah, I think a 2-0 home win, actually, Saturday.
Come on.
Yeah.
I'll have that. I'm happy with that. And that will set up Swansea, where we'll hopefully beat him home and away. Brentford in the final. You know, Dom Solanke in the last minute. Premier League, here we come. That's what we're hoping anyway.
Anyway, you've written the script already, Neil.
Yeah, that sounds fine.
I've got it written down.
Okay.
And anyway, thank you very much for watching, everyone at home. Stay tuned for some more content as the week goes on, because, yeah, we got Stoke. And, of course, make sure you're tuned in on Sunday night, because Neil Vacher, well, there is a special interview coming up with regards to his new book, charting the promotion of the 1970-71 season. That's on Sunday night, so do check that out. Remember to subscribe for that. Until then, we'll see you soon. Up the Cherries.